Well, good morning, my friend. This is Pastor Domley here. Sorry, I know my background looks a little bit different. I'm sitting in my car on my way home, and I was out in the country and didn't have any reception. So I stopped and thought I'd do the podcast this morning. Welcome to the Pastor's Podcast, and good to have you along this morning, January the 25th. And I'm good to have you along. I preached at a boys' boarding school for a good friend of mine, Brother Sean Parker. What a good man, doing a good job. And preached yesterday afternoon and early this morning, headed back to the office. Got a few hours of driving to get back to the office and get some work done, getting ready for the weekend as we go forward for the Lord. And I certainly hope that you had a wonderful day yourself. Let me invite Kim to the Old Paths Conference, oldpathsconference.com. Please register there. And we'd love to have you come. We're going to have a great conference this year. And I'd encourage you, come. Be a part of the conference, see what God can do. I want to read to you this morning from Psalm chapter 66 and verse 5, where the scripture says, "Come and see the works of God. He is terrible in his doing toward the children of men." Now, the psalmist made an invitation to come and see the works of God. Now, this implies that he was about ready to show people what he was going to do for God. Imagine if the psalmist believed or didn't believe that God could do the works in his day. Imagine if he didn't believe these works were for his day. The people would have never seen God work. Imagine if the psalmist was too busy trying to make something of his life in the world instead of trying to do something for God. You see, those works that God did through him would have never been done if he'd believed all this. Imagine if the psalmist never invited others to come and see the works of God. The people would have never come, and God could have not done the work through their lives. All these things were critical for people to come and see the works of God. Now, my friend, you can't see the works of God unless you're there. Sadly, many believers won't see God work because they're not where he is working. So let me ask you, if God did the greatest work in your church on a Sunday night or midweek service, would you have been there to see it? Many will miss seeing the works of God being done because they're not there when he's doing the work. It doesn't matter the excuses you give. If you're not there when God does the work, you're going to miss God's great work. And can I tell you, oftentimes God's greatest works are on a Sunday night and Wednesday night service. Moreover, people can't see the works of God unless someone is doing those works. Someone has to attempt to do the great works of God. Why not you? All it takes for God not to do great works in our present day is for nobody to attempt them so that he can do so that God can work through them. Somebody has to have the faith to attempt them if they're going to be done in this generation. Can I also say this? People won't see the works of God unless someone invites them. When you totally believe with all of your heart that God is going to do a great work in every service, is when you will start inviting people to come and see what is happening. The problem is, so many people don't believe something great is going to happen in their church or in their service, so they never invite others to come and see. Now, my friend, you're the key to others coming and seeing the works of God. If you're not there for God to work, he's definitely not going to work through you. If you're not attempting by faith to the great works of God, he's not going to have the possibility to do those great works through you. Nobody has ever done great works for God without first attempting to do them. Now, God's looking for someone who, by faith, is willing to attempt something great for him. You could be that person that God chooses to do something through if you have the faith to attempt something great for him. You have nothing to lose, my friend, but your ego. If you by faith will invite others to come see the great works of God, you'll see God do those great works through you as you attempt them. Now, what are these great works that God can do? These great works are soul winning, building a great church, lives being changed, packed buses, faith works that produce miracles, answered prayers. These are the great works of God. Now, let me challenge you to at least attempt these things. Who knows if God would not choose you to do those great works through? But you'll never know until you at least attempt them. Now, you say, but preacher, my problem is this. My problem is I'm in a place that doesn't do the great works. I'm in a dead church. Then get out of the church. Get yourself in a church that's on fire for God. You say, I don't know of a church. I know of a good one in Bethany, Oklahoma. God's doing a great work at Maranatha Baptist Church. It's amazing what God can, those who come to visit will attest to the fact God is doing something mighty at our church. My friend, but he could do it at yours. Why don't you just attempt and say, come and see the great works of God. Talk big about God's great works. He has something for you, but you've got to attempt them. He will not do the works unless you attempt them. And then he sees you attempting them, and God will respond. My friend, I hope this is a help and an encouragement to you. Remember today, be good to everybody. Everybody's having a tough time. Have a great day, my friend.